Welcome to 30 Days of Change, Growth, and Elevation, where I will be teaching and sharing information, tips, and giving resources on how you can go from excuses to execution. To those who don't know me, my name is Kay Nicole. I have been helping women on their healing journey since 2018. I've had mentorships, I've taught classes, I do private sessions. I took a hiatus for 2 years, and now I am back and ready to start teaching on a whole other level. So we're going to go ahead and get started into day one, in which we are talking about facing childhood trauma. Now, the reason why I wanted to do this topic first is because I wanted people to get into a place and space of being okay, with being comfortable, with feeling safe, with facing what they went through as kids. Because a lot of times when we are facing what we went through, or we want to face what we have gone through, there are so many emotions that come around. There's so many thoughts that come around, especially self-sabotaging thoughts or self-defeating thoughts that we were the issue or that we were the problem. But as kids dealing with adults, you're not usually, in most cases, 99.9% of the time, you're not usually the problem. And we could point blame at the parent because of the parent's actions, the parent's ways. But the parents, 99.9% of the time, went through something or were dealing with something that is nowhere near an excuse. The whole point of saying that is that there is a root issue to the things that you went through that were dealt with that your parents may have put on you, if it is a parental trauma, because you can have childhood trauma where it is coming from your siblings. It could be coming from friends. It could be coming from the environment, but there's always a root to it. And the first thing that I don't want you to do is to blame yourself in any kind of way. I don't want you to sit and talk bad about yourself or think that it is you, or feel guilty if you do point blame. If you do know the truth, tell the truth. Shame the devil, as they say. If you know that a parent did something or somebody did something, call it out. Now, when I say call it out, we're not bashing. That is not what this is all about. This is about getting to the root issue, getting to the problem, getting things off of you. So some ways of facing childhood trauma is actually speaking about it, actually speaking on it. There are so many people right now who are holding childhood trauma in, and they are not saying the word because they're scared to say it. And that is okay. There's no judgment there. They're not saying anything because they, if you speak on it, oh, you're messing up the family name, just sweep it up under the rug. Do you know how high some people rugs are right now? Extremely high. Do you know that when you sweep things up under the rug, it is a coping mechanism, an avoidance coping mechanism, and all you're doing is hurting yourself because you're not facing what needs to be faced. So we want you to slowly begin to face what needs to be faced. One of the things that I do tell people to do is to get it out. Whether you are speaking to that actual family member, or if you write it out, or if you speak to a trusted friend, or if you go to a therapist, or if you're just sitting in your house and you feel a particular way, get it out. Say it. Speak whatever needs to be spoken. There are so many people who have transitioned, passed on, and they have taken all of that anger, all of that hurt, all of those unspoken words to the grave with them. They died sad. They died unhealed. They died with a lot on them. And that is something you don't want. And sometimes, because you have not faced your childhood trauma, you develop illnesses. You develop illnesses because the trauma not only affects you emotionally, not only affects you mentally, not only affects you behaviorally. Is that a word? I don't know, but it is today. It affects you physically. You hold trauma in your body, and a lot of people don't recognize it right off. They know that something's going on, but they thinking that it's just, oh, this running my family. And sometimes, yeah, maybe it does. But sometimes it is you, because you have kept it in. That is not to call you out. That is to call out something that needs to be done. Let it out. Now, one of the other things with dealing with childhood trauma is that a lot of people want apologies. A lot of people want that family member or that person to take accountability for what they did. Sometimes it's not going to happen, so you're going to have to go ahead and heal anyway. You're going to have to go ahead and face things anyway, because they are not. And I mean, they are not going to say, yes, I did this. Yes, I did that. And sometimes the reason why is because they felt like they didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes the reason why is because they're embarrassed, they are ashamed, or as a lot of us are, we didn't grow up understanding how to really execute conflict resolution. And if that person or persons are dealing with their own insecurities, their own internal issues, they are not going to accept anything negative that they have done. If their coping mechanism is sweeping it up under the rug, then that is exactly what they're going to do. So sometimes we're trying to get an excuse out of a person who themselves have built a wall, who swept stuff up under the rug, who are not taking responsibility because they themselves can't take responsibility, because they don't know how. They don't want to bash themselves down any more than they already have. And some of them are just so far gone that it's just no hope to it. So you definitely have to heal regardless of if you get that apology. If you get that, yes, I did it. And then sometimes you'll get a yes, I did it with an attitude. Is that what you want? Is that going to make you happy? Get it with an attitude. That doesn't make, well, I'm not going to say it doesn't make sense, because you know what? For some people, that will make sense for them. That will give them what they need. But your first objective should not be to get an apology. Your first objective should be to get to the root of it, to get understanding of what happened. You accept what happened. I'm not saying that it's right because you're accepting it. You're accepting the experience. And let me say this really quick so I don't forget. Your experiences do not make you who you are. And that's going to be another video that I'm going to talk about, because a lot of us, how we carry ourselves, our personalities, our characteristics and traits are not who we are. They are the coping self. This is the self that you have built up because of your experiences from childhood. And sometimes it's included your adulthood trauma, because we do have trauma in adulthood as well. But those are totally different videos that I'm going to talk about as well. But you have to know who you are. So some of us, we don't know who we are because we have become our childhood trauma. It does not, your experience does not make you who you are. So you want to get to the root issue of what happened. Now that takes time, I'm not gonna lie. Because a lot of times when we first start out, we are angry, we are mad, all of those emotions are coming forth, and it's okay to have those emotions. You better feel what you feel. Do not hold back anything that you feel. That is one of the number one problems, is that we hold back. Oh, I shouldn't be mad because it's my mother. Oh, I shouldn't be mad because it's my daddy. Oh, I shouldn't be mad because it's my grandmother. Why not? If they did something to hurt you or have caused any type of issue, acknowledge it. It's called acknowledgement. It's not called pointing blame and talking about somebody. We have to know the difference, and we have to use other words or other phrases. You are acknowledging what happened, whether it is a good happening or a negative happening. It happened and they did it, whoever did it. And that's just what it is. We have to get to the truth and to the bottom of things. That's when I tell people, when I was doing my counseling, my one-on-one sessions, I used to tell people, let's get to the bottom of this. Say what it is, because people used to be like, well, you know, my daddy did such and such, but he is a good person. You don't have to give me the but, because I'm not going to look at that person as a negative person. I will look at the deed. Yeah, that was my dryer. I will look at the deed as negative, but not the person, because I know that with everything we do, with every reaction that we have, the decisions that we make, there is some type of stimuli, there is some type of situation, there is some type of experience or something that was taught or learned that person has gone through, or that person have seen happened to somebody else. It's always something behind it. It's never surface. Like, we have to become deeper. We have to become deeper thinkers. It's never surface. You have to get to the root of it. Or if you can't get to the root of it, come to somebody like me, because that's one of my natural gifts. It's like a spiritual gift that I have when I'm able to go to the root of something, where I can even take it back into your ancestry, where it's like, well, let's check this pattern out. Let's look at this. Let's look at that. And I ask questions that will take you all the way back to like a fifth great grandparent that you didn't even know existed. But it's the patterns, it's the behaviors, you know what I'm saying? It's certain traditions and certain things that come down the line. But anywho, that's also another video, healing through genealogy. So that's something different. But you have to look at what is really going on, not necessarily what happened. You got to look at why that person did what they did. And sometimes you're going to be like, well, I don't know why they did what they did. Well, let me tell you something. There's a way for it to be broken down to where you can get an educated guess, or sometimes the exact reason. There are ways that you can break certain things down, and you'll be like, oh my God, my mother had rejection issues. She was emotionally unavailable because of this, or my dad, it can go vice versa. There are ways that you can break down and figure it out. And that is one of the things that I do. I connect the dots. I don't do judgment, because see, when you judge, you clouding, you blocking, and the truth is like right there, but you have to be able to dig and get up under. And another thing that I do over here too is all that stuff you swept up under that rug. Oh, we going to get that. Yes, we are. We're going up under that rug and we're going to get it. So, with facing your childhood trauma, the first thing you want to do is acknowledge what happened. You want to accept what happened, and then you want to get your emotions, because they're going to be there. Oh my goodness, your emotions, things are going to start flooding out, and you want to allow them to happen. Don't wallow in it, but you want to allow what you're feeling to come out. You want all of it to come out: the anger, the disappointment, the disgust, the embarrassment, whatever it is, that the guilt, whatever it is you're feeling. You want everything to come up and come out of you. And then you want to speak how that person made you feel. You want to ask those questions, why did they do this? Why did they do that? And you're just asking these things. You're not necessarily going to get an answer right then and there, but you're just getting everything out. That is the first step, just to get everything out. And then once you get it out, if you're talking to somebody, if you're in therapy, or if you are like me, I do a lot of inner dialogue, inner speaking, talking to spirit, my ancestors, all of that. I do a lot of spiritual searching, and I get answers. You get signs and symbols and things like that. People will come and they'll say something. You're like, oh my God, I just asked that question. And they'll bring the answer. Or I've even been through therapy. You can get it that way. But you will eventually get the answers to those questions that you thought you would never get the answers to. Now, you may not necessarily get it from that person. So sometimes you will get the straight up answer, and sometimes you will get like a roundabout answer, because only the person that actually did whatever it was that was done, or whatever you experienced, you will get the answer from. That's if it was a direct trauma. Sometimes we go through traumas and the person didn't even know they did anything. It was how you as a person processed it. It was how you as a child processed it. Because if your parents don't teach you to love yourself, if your parents don't teach you to stand up for yourself, if your parents don't teach you, that you are worthy, or you mean something to yourself, and you really don't see that also in the environment, when somebody do something or say something, you're going to really take that in. You're going to take that in a negative way, and it is going to cause inner issues, because if you're not hearing anything else, like if you're just all around negativity and nothing positive, you're going to take that in and you're going to process it as negative. And that person may not have even meant it in a negative way, but you translated it as negative because you come from a fear-based or negative-based mindset. not because of your own fault, but because of the society that you lived in, the family that you came up in. And we're not blaming families, because sometimes these things are trickled down through the family, through patterns, behaviors, beliefs, and traditions, what some people call curses, generational curses. I really don't like that, because it's not a curse. These are patterns, these are behaviors, these are actions, these are beliefs, these are traditions that can be changed by you. So sometimes we're born into these types of dysfunctions, these types of mindsets. And so you don't know anything else as a child. As an adult, you do. Or at least you should. I mean, we have cell phones. Everything is in our smartphones. Everything. There are no excuses anymore. None. And so I don't take excuses. We're going to get beyond the excuses. I'm not, I don't point people out like, oh yeah, there's no excuses. I don't do that either. We got to find out why you have these excuses. Because see, a lot of times awareness, and I tell people this all the time, awareness is a cure. Yes, it is. When you are aware of something, I know for me, when I'm aware of something, oh my God, I'm good. Good. G-U-U-U-U-U-U-D. Good. I'm good. So, getting back to what I was saying, you want to get to, once again, the root. So you're going to acknowledge, you're going to accept, you're going to release everything that you're feeling, you're going to ask those questions, and then you're going to, I don't want to necessarily say wait and receive the answers, because there's so much more in between all of that, but you're going to do whatever it is that you need to do to get the answers, to find the answers, so that you can move on from it. And that's where the sessions come in at, because everybody is different. It's an individual type of conversation that we would have to have, because everybody don't process everything the same way. Even if you have a family of siblings and everybody was, let's say, abused by a parent, the same parent, everybody is not going to process it the same. It's because we're all different. We all see things the same. Our mentalities are different. Just because we have the same parents don't mean we're going to think the same, believe the same, and all of that kind of stuff. So those would be the steps that you would go to begin to face it. Now, there are some times when you have to face some things and it's just too hard. Those situations, or that situation, if you have multiple situations where you've gone through things, the harder ones, let's put to the back burner, and you just focus on, the kind of lighter ones. If that is the only one, definitely try to get a therapist or a counselor or somebody spiritual that was gifted in that area to help you break it down, because you can't walk that road alone, because because a lot of times when we have those very hard times, we block everything out. And that person will have to journey with that through you, because you're probably going to go through some emotional wake up, and it could, I'm not saying it's going to be so shocking or whatever, but you would want somebody to be there so that you can verbalize everything, so that you can get through whatever it is that you need to get through that, from what you blocked out. Now, some people are strong enough to do it on their own. So I'm not saying that you can't do it on your own, because I know I faced some things that I totally forgot about. And I was like, oh my God, and I had to go through what I had to go through, and I went through it by myself. So it's some people can do it by themselves. I think those people that were called, I really don't like the call thing. Those people that were gifted to be able to help others heal, some of us are able to face those things alone. Now, some people want to face it alone because they don't know how to ask for help, or they feel like they should. If you can get assistance, get assistance. And because I know there's a lot of people that tell me, I don't have nobody to talk to. I don't have nobody to talk to. Listen, I'm going to start my sessions back, okay? I'm here. And I'm pretty good at what I do, especially with listening, making people feel comfortable and being able to break a situation down. I can break down an embarrassing situation to where there is no embarrassment, because you're understanding everything that happened. And that's the most important part, is that understanding peace. So we are at 19 minutes and 40 seconds. This is 20 minutes long. So as far as facing your childhood traumas, I hope that this was a beginning for you. You know, it's so much more to it, but this is a beginning for you. And I want to catch you all again on the next video, which is going to drop on tomorrow. And we're going to talk about coping mechanisms. Am I really me? Or is this my coping self? See you all tomorrow.